Last night we went to dinner at probably the most fancy place I've ever been to in my life. It was for Dan's birthday as his birthday gift, and he chose the place himself. One of his favourite chefs is Chef Ruin. Currently at the Langham in London, his food is being served there. Just behind Oxford Street is where the Langham is located, and it's also a really nice hotel. Whilst we were waiting to be seated, we saw a picture of Chef Ruin, then there was also a picture of his dad, who's also a chef. As it was Dan's birthday, they very kindly let us pick where we wanted to sit, so I picked one of these sofa seats in the middle. In the last couple of years, the way me and Dan do our birthdays has changed quite a lot. We found ourselves wanting to spend money on more experiential things. For example, for my last birthday, we went on a steam train across the English countryside and we had lunch on there. And these aren't things that we do on top of gifts for each other. Like, this is literally our gift to each other. And it's really nice because it's something that we can both experience as well. We both went for the set menu, which was a 5-dish course. Dan went for the one that came with wine pairing. Obviously, I couldn't do that because I'm currently pregnant. Saying that I did sneak in a sip or two during the meal just because I wanted to see what all the hype was about. And you know what? They know what they're doing when it comes to the pairing. By this stage, we were on our second course, which was a fish one. I have to say that the meat was very meaty. Usually fish is quite flaky, and I don't know what they did to this one, but it was so thick. Dan wasn't aware that he'd get a new glass of wine with every dish, so he got tipsy quite quickly because we'd stopped off at the pub before coming to the restaurant, and he had a pint there, and then he had an old-fashioned when we first sat down at the restaurant. Going to the toilets at the Langham felt like I was walking through the Titanic. I also noticed that there was a separate entrance and exit to the toilets, which is so fancy, and if there's anything I'm obsessed with, it's a pretty restroom. Honestly, I don't know why I was surprised, because what else was I expecting? On my way back to the restaurant, I did get lost, but when I got back to the table, I saw that our third course had been served, which was steak. Now, the whole point of an experience like this is not the portion size, it's quality over quantity. And honestly, I don't know what they add to this food, but by the fourth course, which was a cheese course, I was so full. It's safe to say that Dan was drunk by this stage. The atmosphere in the dining room was so lovely, and I was in absolute awe with an older lady that was there. She had entered the dining room just before us, and I thought that she was waiting for someone, but she was just there eating alone. Can you imagine the level of fancy you need to be going to a place like the Langham just to casually have dinner by yourself? The fifth and last course came out, which was dessert, and this one was so fresh. But it didn't end there, because then they also brought out a birthday cake for Dan and a cake for me for my pregnancy. Safe to say it was a night that we will never forget.